that come out of my mouth. You know the story very quickly. At this point, there was a rich Shunammite woman who blessed the man of God and created a room for him to stay in whenever he was in town. And he honored her. He said, at that point, you've been so good to me. What do you want me to be in agreement with you that God would give you? Even though she was rich, she didn't have a child. She said, I want to have a son. He said, the Lord has revealed to me by this time next year, you will have that son. She was given this son, and then the son grew up. But one day out in the field, the son had a terrible headache. They sent him back in from the field. This is all over here in 2 Kings chapter 4, 8 through 37. They sent him back in from the field, and he goes back and puts his head down his mama's lap. While he's down his mama's lap, he dies. She takes the dead body and puts the dead body in the room she made for the man of God. It said he went upstairs, didn't have an elevator, got her son's body, dead like his body, put the body on the bed, and then said to her husband, I need to go find the man of God. Husband said, what's going on? She said, it's well. She goes and finds, now what she just put in the man of God's room? The only son she had, the body's up in the room. The husband says, is everything okay? She said, it is well. She goes out here and finds the man of God. And the man of God sends his servant to see that, I think that's a Shunammite woman. Go ask how she's doing. Servant goes out there. How you doing? She said, it is well with my husband. What was that? How you doing? She said, it's well with me. Well, how's your son doing? It is well with him. What did she just leave? Dead son. But she kept speaking, not what she was going to see, but what should be. So the Lord had to reveal to the man of God that the son was dead. She said, so he went in and the man of God said, where's the body now? She says, up in your room in my house. He goes in there and lays on the dead body, eyeball to eyeball, mouth to mouth, body to body. And the man, at that point, the boy lives again. What happened in the midst of this? Even though she saw what was in the natural, she was believing God, that God is not a God that's going to go back and take something back. I'm going to confess it is well when I don't feel like it's well. I'm going to confess it is well. I don't care what it looks like right now. She said, it is well. It is well. It is well. You got to make up a decision in your mind. It's going to be well. Rejoicing says it is well. It is well. No, you don't feel like right. It is well. No, it doesn't look like it is well. And that's why the story right now, even the songwriter talked about this, it is well with my soul. The story about that back in the 1800s. Chicago businessman was getting ready to go back in here, send his family overseas. He was going to be on the boat as well with them. And then in turn sent them forward, he was going to join them over in England. And at the ship sank, killed his family, and he was left. He had to get a boat to go back and retrieve the bodies. And about the same place where he saw where his family went down, he got these words, when peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrow like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well. It is well with my soul. You may not have what you want right now. It is well. It may not look good right now. It is well. You may not feel like it right now. It is well. It may not look right now. It is well. In the midst of where he saw the spot where his family died, he said, it is well. It is well. It is well. And rejoicing says that despite what I feel, what I think, what it looks like, I serve a God that reminds me, it is well. Rejoicing, it is well. Second thing we have right here. Rejoicing also means to excel. You got the power of the universe when you're a believer. You can't help but be extraordinary. So you're supposed to excel. I expect every saved child to make an A in class. I expect every believer to go back in here and walk in favor. We are supposed to excel. So at this point when we talk about rejoicing always, it says I'm still going to excel. I don't care what the circumstances are. I don't care what it looks like. I'm still going to excel. I was telling my wife and my mom this past week, we were in the school system, and I was given kind of dealt kind of a bad hand. You know, it was like at this point we're talking about the number of folks supposed to be passed. I'm like, well, I don't care how many say supposed to pass. I know how many go. And so we end up doing better than the whole district average. Why? Because at this point I believe in the name of God that they're going to excel. You got to know right now they're going to excel. So stop accepting the limitations put on by the world. Stop accepting you can't do this. You can't do no. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Now be clear about that. Now don't take that out of context. I can do all things through Christ to fulfill his will. I can do all things through Christ. Now let's talk about what we're talking about and what we're not talking about. Back in the day, when both Uncle Ron and myself, Brother Lewis, and all of us had hair, we could go back. And back in the day, I mean, I'm telling you, I could go back in here and I got a picture. On the basket, I played high school ball. I had the basketball right here, cradling that bad boy, and the rim was right. I'm looking at the rim. I couldn't touch that rim now. This so I can do all things through Christ to fulfill his will through him that strengthens me. But my dunking days are over. That is, I got to be clear about this. But we have to recognize that despite the limitations the world tries to put on us, we got liberation in Jesus. I said, despite the limitations the world tries to put on us, we have liberation. Despite the limitations the world tries to put on us, we have liberation. Is anybody there? We got some freedom and liberation in Jesus in the name that's above every name. Despite all the limitations, we still have liberation. So we first of all have rejoicing means to be well. Rejoicing means to excel. I rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. Watch this. It means to tell. It means to declare how wonderful God is. I'm going to rejoice in the Lord always. Because even in my valley, I know God is good. I'm going to rejoice in the Lord always. Because even when it doesn't look good, I know God has already worked it out. I'm going to rejoice in the Lord always because I can talk about where God has brought me. And I know according to the word he's about to take me. So I can start declaring and talking about what God has done. So in Romans 12:15, rejoice with them that rejoice. Weep with those who weep. So we talk about, and then lastly, I love this one. Rejoice means to dwell. It means to be well. It means to excel. It means to tell. But it also means to dwell permanently. Dwell permanently. I'm in the secret, I'm in the presence of the Lord permanently. So I can rejoice in the Lord always because I know right now I'm in the ark of safety. I know right now God has the arms around me. I know right now God is good. So I'm going to dwell in the word. I'm going to dwell in his presence. I'm going to dwell on his promises. So now read this with me from Psalm 118:24. When? This, what day? This is that. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice. I can't talk about tomorrow, but I know the day I can rejoice. This is the day. And when I get to tomorrow, I can say, this is the day. But all I can say right now is, this is the day the Lord has made. I'm going to rejoice. I'm going to dwell in. I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to make this the best day of my life. I am made for this season. This is the day the Lord has made. I'm going to dwell and accept all the goodness God has. In the midst of, even on our way to church today, we were talking about how it was a shame how cold it was based on how pretty it was. It's pretty outside. But you let the windows down if you want to. We're going to rejoice. But I'm going to rejoice that I got some heat coming down the road. Glory. I'm going to rejoice in this morning. I'm going to look at the sunshine and watch the squirrel shiver. I'm going to rejoice in the Lord always because I'm going to dwell and focus on how good God has been. So give me my definition again. First of all, it is for rejoicing is what? Be well. Also exhale. Also what? Tell. And also dwell. That's how we rejoice in the Lord always. That's how we rejoice. So today, make a choice to rejoice. Today, make a choice to rejoice. I don't know what you left when you left at home coming here. I don't know what you're going to go to tomorrow or Tuesday when you go back to the job. Make a choice to rejoice. I can rejoice in the Lord always because I know I'm already well. This lady had a dead son. It is well. It is well. And she spoke what should be instead of what she was able to see. Rejoice in the Lord always at that point. I've already excelled because ordinary people become extraordinary by doing what? Trusting in an extraordinary God. Y'all see that right there? I said, ordinary people become extraordinary people. It's on the same side. Extraordinary people become extraordinary by doing what? Trusting in an extraordinary God. I can also tell, has God been good to anybody up in here? Yes. I said, has God been good to anybody up in here? So rejoicing means I got to tell somebody how good God has been. I got to tell somebody where I was and where I am right now. I got to declare what God has already done. I shall live and not die and declare the works of the Lord according to Psalm. Right before this verse right here, this is so interesting. Right before this verse right here, this is the day the Lord has made. I'm going to rejoice and be glad in, from Psalm 118:24. Psalm 118:23 says, I shall live and not die and declare the works of the Lord. Good God, about this shot. I shall live. So his rejoicing was based on the fact he made a choice to live, even though he faced obstacles for death. I shall live and not die and declare the works of the Lord. Now I can say this is the day that the Lord has made, and I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it because I made a decision. I made up my mind that I'm going to rejoice this day as well. So we rejoice always. Now here's the point. Now how do we talk about, so we're good on this part. Always rejoicing. Are we good now? Rejoicing. I say, are we good now? Rejoicing. Yes. All right. Make sure we're good. Rejoicing means what again? Be well. It means to excel, not Microsoft. It means to tell. It means to. Notice none of those have anything to do with feelings. Nothing with emotions. I'm excelling because Jesus excelled in me. I'm well because I'm complete in him. I can tell what God has already done in my life. I can dwell in his presence at that point. So nothing with feelings. Now we talked about the rejoicing part. Now I want to get to the part about this hope. Because you would have to agree with me. How many of you have ever been in seemingly hopeless situations? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And some of the I'm in it right now. So the idea, so how do we deal with and always have hope? How do we walk in and possess and always have hope? This is where our scripture is coming from today. First of all, read the scripture with me from Romans 5:2. Because I just tell you right now, scripture is coming from Romans chapter 5, 1 through 10. And we won't necessarily turn to read that, but I want to make sure you get that reference. But from the ESV version, this is the verse we're going to focus on for the rest of our moments together here. Read this with me together, please. We rejoice in hope of the glory of God. Again, we rejoice in hope of the glory of God. One more time. We rejoice in hope of the glory of God. Watch what happened. We are well in the hope of the glory of God. We excel in the hope of the glory of God. We tell, we confess, we declare the hope and hope of the glory of God. And we dwell in hope of the glory of God. So look what happens. We rejoice, read this with me together. Rejoice in the hope of the glory of God. And what? See, the reason sometimes we don't have hope is because we're hoping the wrong thing. When I have my hope in the Lord, then at that point I won't be disappointed. But when I have my hope in myself and with people and other things, that's when, because as long as my hope is in God and not me, I'm now positioned to make sure I can rejoice and have hope always. Rejoice in the hope. One more time, read this with me, please. Rejoice in the hope and the glory of God. So let's take a look at this for just a moment, please. So now, let me just talk about this for just a moment. All right, so now, I want to give you an idea. You don't have to write this down. I just want to talk to you. So there was a pastor named Edwin Mote, born in England. And Edwin Mote was not raised in a church, his parents were not saved. They were in England and ran a pub, or in America, juju. And so as a result of this, so nobody there, y'all know, it's like a bar or a tavern. Y'all don't know what that is because y'all been holding all your lives, but for those who don't. So that is so they were not saved, and he was around the bar all the time, and there was some very questionable activities going on in the bar. Like a little bit, this kid from Gunsmoke kind of stuff. So the idea was, I don't know I like Miss Kitty, by the way. But the idea was, we had all this going on. And he was a very successful cabinet maker, well known. Got saved, not because of the influence from his parents, but got saved and then started falling in love with the scripture and falling in love